Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular City Council meeting for Monday, November 4th, 2024. We will begin with the invocation followed by a salute to the flag led by Councilmember Jansen. Please rise.
Let us pray. Good and gracious Heavenly Father, as I lift my brother and sister up in prayer, we reflect on the book of Deuteronomy where you say, love thy God with all thy heart, all thy soul, and all thy strength. Lord, help us to be image bearers of you. Guide us and lead us. Lord, I just ask you to look over our first responders and our military as they preserve our peace day in and day out. Lord, look over this community during tumultuous times. Lord, we just thank you for all your blessings. In the matchless name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is called to order. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Golding? Here. Councilmember Horn? Councilmember Jansen?
Here.
Councilmember Meza?
Here.
Councilmember Sutton?
Here.
Councilmember Wagner?
Here.
Mayor Hoffman?
Here, moving on to approval of minutes, item A.
I move that we approve the minutes from the regular city council meeting held on October 21st, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Announcements. Mr. Meza, sorry, Sandy.
Sweet. Well, this past Saturday, Florida, Georgia was here. So if you were a Georgia fan, congratulations. And if you were a Gator fan, I'm with you on that boat since I'm a Jaguar fan. So congratulations to Georgia on a game well played. Second, I have some pretty exciting news. Some of you guys may know, but the Meza household is going from 3 to 4. Pretty excited. We'll be Matilda Meza. That will be her in April. So once April comes, we'll bring her by and have her hit the gavel. But go Jags.
And his beautiful bride Helen is here if you want to congratulate her in person. Congratulations, Helen. Miss Golding.
What awesome news. Congratulations. As if anybody didn't know, there's an election tomorrow. And if you haven't decided who you're voting for, I just want to remind you that Beaches Watch did a candidate form for the Jacksonville Beach candidates. You can watch it on the beacheswatch.com website. I also want to give a shout out to Jerry Holland, the supervisor of elections staff, and all the poll workers. I voted early, and I will say it was a very smooth process. I actually did the express voting because I heard there was a lot of questions around that, and that went really well. I had the opportunity to ask Jerry Holland some questions. He was very responsive. It's really sad to see some of the things that are happening when it comes to the threats that he and his staff have received. So just want to recognize the great work that they're doing. And I wanted to mention that the Municipal Operations Policy Committee is meeting this Friday, and because of the threats and the issues that have been occurring in our elections, one of the items that we're going to be considering is possible supportive exemptions for city clerks, public records exemptions, because they are, I guess, dealing with issues as well, because a lot of times they're dealing with the local elections. So just wanted to mention that because it's very timely. Wanted to mention that this past weekend I had the opportunity to speak to a group of high school sophomore and juniors. It's part of the Hive Mind program where they do this program for 3 years. It's for typically underserved students, and had the opportunity to talk to them about local government and what we do, and took them an agenda and walked them through what it takes to pass an ordinance, and we showed them the ordinance that we passed to allow bicycles on sidewalks. And then I asked them to do some role playing as though they were city council members and to discuss what would they do with regard to the concerns with e-bikes. And I wanted to share with my colleagues that the student, it was a small group of students, so it was like council size, it was about 7 students. They discussed the issue. It was really interesting to sit and listen to their discussion, but they all said unanimously they would not support e-bikes on sidewalks because they're not safe, they go too fast, not safe for pedestrians, and so I thought that was really super interesting. Wanted to share that with everybody. Also, the mayor and I had the pleasure of spending some time on Sunday with a Girl Scout troop number 2076. Reminded me of my days as a Girl Scout, and the mayor did a great job of giving them a great history lesson about Jacksonville Beach, and the girls asked I thought they asked some really good questions, and it was really kind of neat to have the first female mayor and vice mayor with the Girl Scouts, so hope we inspired them to run for office someday and serve their community as well. And then went to the Jacks Beach Police Department Halloween party and just wanted to give a shout out to the police department, the volunteers, and especially Sergeant Tater, and because they did a lot of work and it was a really great event. And let's see, and the grand reopening of Gonzales Park. Excited to see that. It's for the most part done except for the fields, and but it looks great, and I want to thank Parks and Rec for everything that they did there as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Golding. Mr. Jansen.
Yeah, so over the course of the past 3 or 4 weeks, I've had the opportunity to work with the Fletcher High School Band. We were on the national stage about 2 weeks ago at Camping World Stadium. We did not place, but the competition was extremely tough on the national level. A lot of schools that their only focus was in music, so it was strong competition, but it was fantastic. Only 2 schools from Duval County, Oakleaf and Fletcher, were on the national stage, so mad congrats to that. And then this past weekend, Fletcher hosted the MPA marching band competition, 24 bands throughout Northeast Florida, and with the showcase from JU, they came and did they weren't in the competition, but they put on a performance for us as well. Fletcher did very well, and they have 5 dimensions, and they got a rating, you can get a rating from good, excellent, to superior, and they got 4 superiors and 1 excellent. So they did super fantastic. And then next week, or this upcoming weekend, is the state competition in Winter Garden, so I'll be traveling down there to help them out on that. Also, to echo my colleague's sentiments, the grand opening of Gonzales Park was fantastic. What a wonderful park that is. It was a little overdue, but here we are. Our Parks and Recs did an amazing job with it. They're going to be leveling out the dirt for the fields and then sodding it. So you have to kind of be patient with us to let that sod kind of take hold before we start using those fields. And then, lastly but not least, don't forget to vote. If you haven't voted, make sure you vote tomorrow.
Mr. Stefopoulos.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. At our last regular meeting, you all approved a contract for improvements down on America Avenue, predominantly a drainage improvement project. One of the things that we heard loud and clear from you is that you wanted to make sure we had some enhanced communication on that project, that we can't communicate enough. In talking more about it with the Public Works Director, we are going to hold an open house to make sure that the residents that are impacted by that project have an opportunity to see the design before we actually start that construction. We do not have a date and time yet, but our intention is to make sure that we have residents that are as far north as Osceola on both sides of America Avenue in the neighborhoods going west of America that are all personally invited to that meeting, since it will definitely affect their routes going down to JTB. So more to come on that, but there will be an open house for that project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner.
Good evening, dang it, almost. I got one of the 2 buttons right. So, good evening, everybody, and well, it's an exciting time for the folks up here, and I'm sure for all of you. So, echoing everybody's sentiment, please get out and exercise your right to vote. It's very special and very important. I wanted to share just a little bit of, not that big of a deal, but the Florida League of Cities, which is an organization that all your mayor and city council and city staff support. I was asked or appointed to the Education and Training Committee, which I think now means all of us are on the committee. So, which is pretty impressive compared to the support that other cities give the organization. And it really means we get to benefit a lot from their resources and their educational opportunities. So, pretty excited about that. And then, lastly, I wanted to kind of just share and offer my appreciation to the team that pulled together the trunk or treat. It was really a lot of fun and it was so cute. And my wife and I attended it and got to see all the little outfits and got to see Deb in a sea turtle outfit, which was pretty fabulous. I had pictures. But I did want to pass our appreciation for all the hard work that went into that. I thought it was great. And you can see that thing really building and becoming something really neat.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. And I think you missed seeing me as the Australian break dancer with Deb the sea turtle. It was quite
I did
exciting.
get to see the picture though, so it was pretty fabulous.
Best costume ever.
Yeah.
Mr. Sutton?
I don't even know what that is. Anyway, shout out to my friend and Neptune Beach City Manager Ricky Pike and former Neptune Beach City Councilman Scott Wiley. Scott was really responsible for spearheading this, but we did a rededication on Friday. I guess the drainage ditch behind Fletcher High School and then along 5th Street that even goes across Sam Pavlo's property and on into Jacksonville Beach had been redone, I guess a couple of years ago. It drains into Hopkins Creek and it was long overdue. I remember playing in that. It was overgrown a few years ago when I played in it. And anyway, as part of that construction, which is, it's awesome, it's great now, some of the signage had gotten torn down and the road leading to the Fletcher Pool was dedicated, I guess now about 20 years ago, to my uncle Wimpy Sutton, who was a swim coach and instructed a couple of Olympic gold medalists at Fletcher, went on from Fletcher and won some Olympic gold medals. And so we had the opportunity there with a nice crowd. And thank you, Mayor Hoffman, for attending, and Elaine Brown, who is probably ready to retire after tomorrow. Mayor of Neptune Beach, she was also in attendance. And so just a special thank you to them for that opportunity to rededicate Sutton Way to my uncle.
Thank you, Mr. Sutton. I think everyone covered everything I had on my list except to say that we have the Supergirl Surf Pro this weekend. It's a great event, so come out for summer, all of it. I'm going to be on a panel on Sunday, so that should be interesting. But it's a great event. Hopefully the weather and the waves will be great for them as well. I do not have any cards for courtesy of the floor. Madam Clerk, no? Okay. Moving on to consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda without item B, which is the St. Johns County Local Mitigation Strategy Plan.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So we put that at the bottom of the agenda.
Anyway, sure discussion.
Okay, we're going to move item B to the end. And one thing I did not say is that we have tried to keep this agenda a little bit tight because this is a polling location tomorrow, and Supervisor of Elections Holland has asked us to let the workers get in here to start putting it together. As you can see, the equipment is here, but I am going to take a moment for the next item, which is a special presentation. The Wavemaker Award is a tradition started by my predecessor, Mayor Latham, and it was one that I was happy to continue with a little bit of a twist to recognize those making positive waves in our community. So if Ed Malin doesn't know why I invited him here, he does now. He loves this kind of stuff, by the way. He really loves being called out and recognized. I'm sorry, Ed, we'll make this quick. So Ed Malin is more than just a sandwich maker from the valley. For nearly 25 years, he has been the proud owner of Angie Subs, setting a remarkable example of customer service and community care for hundreds of young employees along the way. Together with his wife, Kristen, who is also here today, thank you, Kristen, Ed founded the Two Titmice Foundation, which provides vital financial support to women battling breast cancer. In 2020, he was honored by the Beaches Museum as a beach legend, revealing that this larger-than-life figure is also one of the most humble individuals you'll ever meet. What truly illustrates Ed's character and his role as a community leader is his response to the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. As North Carolina began its long road to recovery, he recognized the urgent needs and our community's desire to help. Rallying a group of friends, Ed called upon local residents to contribute specific items like water and diapers that were desperately needed. In just one day, the community answered his call, filling the parking lot of Angie Subs with an astonishing 30,000 pounds of essential supplies. Multiple trucks and trailers were loaded up to head to the grateful residents in the Asheville area. Ed, you don't just do good. You inspire others to make a difference. You create pathways for generosity, and you make us all proud to be part of a community that has you at its heart. And I'm honored to call you a Jacksonville Beach wave maker. I will say the twist on the wave maker is that it's no longer an acrylic award, it's actually a photo of a wave from here at Jacksonville Beach, taken by photographer Chris Condon.
Is this where they mentioned renaming Beach Boulevard to Malin? We don't do that?
I'm sorry.
You want it with you.
Yeah, I know, right? Come on now. Oh, yeah, you guys want to keep it out there?
Very good. Thanks, John.
He's not happy. I know.
I had to lie to him until we were talking about food trucks. Perfect. Congratulations.
Can I say something for a
You
second?
sure can.
Thanks. Well, we appreciate it. Thanks. I appreciate the award. Thank you guys very much for it. As the mayor said, I don't like this kind of thing, but the reality is here that all I did for the people of North Carolina was send out one little post on Facebook. And it was this community, I'm going to get choked up when I think about it. It was this community that stepped up. Writing a post is simple. And I did that from a easy chair in Georgia, I think on a Wednesday night or something. And the next day, the people of Jacksonville Beach and the beaches and the people of Duval County for 8 hours drove through Angie's parking lot, dropping off cases, 2 cases at a time, until we had, and we actually estimated it was more like 50,000 pounds of goods. So, I accept this, and it's very sweet and very thoughtful. Thank you very much for it. But I did very little for it. I was a little tiny piece of a giant movement of people in our community that stepped up for the people of North Carolina. And everywhere I went in North Carolina, and I went a lot of places trying to make sure that what everybody gave went to the right hands. They all were so thankful. They couldn't believe the caravan of 8 trucks and trailers drove from Jacksonville, a place these mountain people have really never heard of, with all of this stuff for them just a couple of days after that disaster. And they cried all over me, and they thanked me so much. So the thank goes to the people of our community, not just me, I was just a little piece of it, but thank you very much for the recognition. Thank you.
And I will say, Mr. Mesa, also, we have the common thought of presenting you with this award as well. So Mr. Mesa would like to say a few words.
I was thinking about this if I should write something up, but in the end, I was, you know what, I'm gonna go with it from the heart. So, Ed, you have been a true inspiration since I met you. I was still in the Navy, working as a dog at the Reds, and when I found out that you were the owner of Andy's, and how humble you were, or you are as a person, it was pretty cool. you know, how well you treat your employees, your customers, it means a lot, not just to them, but to the community. The community loves you. All the things that you have done in the past have been very well noted, well taken, especially by me. You know, you're one of my influencers, people that I look up to as a human, as a former bartender. Maybe we should do a competition. You know, to find out all these things that you did before you owned Angie's and to where you are going and what you have accomplished as a person with your foundation, which you've helped one of my friend's moms as well, and you continue to do so. I think that's an example of what we need in this community. You know, we need positive people, positive humans to influence our kids or future generations. I'm sure your former employees have seen what you are capable of and they want to emulate you. I want to emulate you. You do a lot of great things for everyone without skipping a beat. You know, I'm in the position where I'm here, this is honor, and this is just something that I always wanted to do, but the more I've learned from you, through talking to you and everything else, I'm like, man, this guy's pretty awesome. He definitely, we are thankful you are here. I am thankful you are here, and maybe we could get a Fernando's wrap or something. But you know, he did name a lunch plate on me at Engine Round, but thank you for everything. You know, we're all thankful for you. So this Wavemaker, it's just not just for you, but everything you have done for everyone else, and we're all thankful. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Fernando.
Thank you, Fernando, and we know that you represent a lot of other people, but it takes a spark to light a flame, and we appreciate you doing that, and for really representing our community so well. You guys are all welcome to stay, but if you would like to depart, you are also welcome to do so. Yeah, no worries.
Good talk.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Bob Tolka, for also coming in, and Ed's family, thank you guys. Have a great evening. Okay, moving on to item A, Mr. Barron, I think this is you.
Mayor and Council, Dennis Barron, Public Works Director. Would have been here earlier, except that last time I jumped up to the microphone, we had another whole presentation I didn't know about, so now I'm going to sit at the table till I'm called, until I get past that. Anyway, the item I have before you tonight is a three-part item, which really involves a continuous contract with Beach Raker for beach cleaning and garbage collection on the beach proper. This is a 5-year contract with 5 one-year extensions to settle for the future. We did solicit quite a few bids. We only received 2 back, which was Beach Raker and one from Rockaway. The committee met to be able to make a decision on the RFP, which is what you've got before you. We recommend awarding this to Beach Raker. If you've got any other further questions, I can explain. The majority of this contract is for beach proper services with a lot of extra tag-alongs that go along to help Parks and Rec to be able to collect their garbage throughout the parks and whatnot as well. So it's kind of 2 different points. There is a little bit of a financial impact. The costs have gone up. Not to anybody's surprise from the last contract. We are happy with Beach Raker. They have been our contract holder for the previous, I believe, 8 years, maybe longer, if I remember correctly. So anyway, they've done a really good job. We're happy to have them as a partner. We do have a representative from Beach Raker here as well, in case you have any questions that I can't answer.
Thank you, Mr. Barron, and a motion for the first section.
I think the city clerk needs to read the resolution.
This is not a resolution.
No, it's not a resolution. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself.
You're already on the back page.
I know, I'm ready for the resolutions. I move that we award RFP number 07-2324 to Beach Raker LLC for oceanfront cleaning continuous services for 5 years with 5 one-year extensions.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions for Mr. Barron? Mr. Wagner?
So I saw that the rate increase from the previous agreement to this agreement was 20% roughly. I think it was with the automatic renewal. I just don't know the way it works in our agreement. So for the first 5 years, my assumption is that rate, or the rate increase is in place. I didn't see an escalator or anything along those lines. How does the increasing of rates, how's that impacted by the 5 one-year extensions?
So this will be interesting, and I kind of expected this question as well, because I know this has been a point, like the current council has been not recommending those one-year extensions. We do the one-year extensions because the cost of entering the field to be able to do this work can be a little bit cost-prohibitive. You have to have specialty equipment, you have to have it on hand. In the event that the one-year renewals are not approved in Section 3, truthfully, as soon as the 5 years over, pretty much 2 to 3 months after that, I'm going to be back in front of you asking you to approve the next one-year agreement, which is going to be way early. But it's way early simply because it takes me 3 to 4 months to be able to issue an RFP, get responses back, get a group together. This particular group happened to be scheduled to meet during Hurricane Milton, so that got pushed another whole week, which is what kind of caused it to be on this agenda. So there's a long enough lead time to be able to get through the process that it's going to take that. So generally, when we get to that point of renewal, we reach back out to Beechraker. We ask them to provide us with a proposal, I guess is the best way to do it. We work through that to figure out if that makes sense and seems to be able to make sense as far as an escalator at that time, and then we look forward to pushing that into a one-year contract moving forward.
So we're basically, just a follow-up question, I apologize. So we're agreeing to the rate of the 5 years and then 5 years of potential increases.
Like I said, we've keep in mind they've done this for a long time, and they may not have an increase or an escalator depending on what they've had happen or what we've had happen. I know the last 5 years since I've been here, we've seen historical increases in all services across the board. So, I mean, a 20% seems like a lot, but when you figure they've already been in business with us for a significant amount of time without an increase, because even their yearly renewals so far had no increase. They just requested to renew the contract and keep things going. So I can't say as they will or will not ask for an increase. I won't know that for 5 years or until we get close to that cusp. But, you know, we're prepared in case they do, because we, obviously, in the last 5 years, we've seen some significant increases across the board.
And that's, of course, that's my concern.
Seeing no other questions, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Golding?
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen?
Yes.
Councilmember Meza?
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton?
Yes.
Councilmember Wagner?
No.
Mayor Hoffman?
Yes, motion carries. Item 2.
I move that we authorize the mayor and city manager to negotiate and execute any contract as a result of this RFP award.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Sutton?
I'm just questioning, this is maybe a nit here, but authorize the mayor and city manager to negotiate and execute any contract as a result of this RFP award. Do we mean the subsequent one-year extensions?
I believe those would be part of 3, which is the approving the mayor and city manager to approve and execute all subsequent contract
Give me an
extensions.
example of what any contract would be.
Just whatever contract we put forward. We have not reached out to Beechraker with any form of a contract. So part of our contract terms appear as part of our procurement policies and part of the PO that we originally issued. There's a certain amount that also draws in the RFP advertisement and their response as part of the actual contract. So what they've submitted, they're held to, and what we've asked for, we are held to as well. So we just haven't put the final contract in front of the city attorney or...
Could we say any contract relating to RFP number 07-2324? I mean, any contract sounds wide open.
Well, it says as a result of this RFP award. Mr. Niggett has his light on. He might be able to help out with this one.
So let me respond to your first question first, and I buzzed in just before Mr. Barron made a bunch of excellent points. It's my advice that we enter into contracts in matters like this and not just rely on purchase orders, where we incorporate the terms of the RFP, the response, we set the order of preference in a way that's most advantageous to the city. So in terms of motion 2, it's just to formalize a contract, which is just formalizing the terms of the RFP in the city's best interest. As regards to the last thing you said just before I chimed in, I think the motion is legally sufficient as is. You could always propose, if you wanted to be more specific, you can certainly do it, but I don't think this motion gives any extra authority beyond the scope of this agenda item in the RFP to the mayor and city manager without further, you would need further authorization from council to do anything beyond what's in front of you today.
Mr. Wagner? Oh, your light's off, never mind. Your light's back on.
That clarified it for me, but, because thank you, that clarified it for me, because with the any contract, my assumption was, considering the example that was used earlier, where it was the beach or the parks, or if there was another need that came up in the future, that those could fall up under any contract and then be extended. But you clarified that that's not.
That is not the case at all.
Thank you.
See no other lights, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Mesa,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wagner,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes. Item 3.
I move that we delegate authority to the city manager to approve and execute all subsequent contract extensions through the maximum contract term.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Wagner?
Just to clarify, so what 3 would do is facilitate the 5 one-year extensions. Correct?
That is correct, just on the beach breaker response to this RFP.
Mr. Stefopoulos?
And just to clarify, and city attorney can correct me if I'm wrong here, under item 1, you approved a 5-year contract with 5 one-year extensions. So the initial 5 years is locked in. Item 3 would delegate the authority to me to approve each of the one-year extensions. If it's not delegated to me, then the authority for those one-year extensions lies with city council. And that's where Mr. Barron indicated he would be coming back to you, not at the end of each year, but 6 to 8 months in advance, in order to see if you were willing to do the one-year extension, because if you were to say you do not want to do the one-year extension, he needs a 3 to 4 month lead time at a minimum to do an RFP to go back out on the street. So I just wanted to clarify that the option for up to 10 years has already been approved, but it's the second grouping of 5 one-year extensions that if it's not delegated to me, it lies with council for approval for each individual year.
Thank you for that clarification. See no other lights, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Mesa,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
No.
Councilmember Wagner,
No.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Moving on to the resolutions. Thank you, Mr. Barron. Ms. Gossett?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Ashley Gossett, CFO. The resolution before you tonight for consideration is the year-end budget modification. As budgets are adjusted throughout the year and items are brought before council, we accumulate them and bring them forward at mid-year and year-end, because the state mandates that any budget amendments be adopted in the same form as the original budget. Since that was done by resolution, we've brought this all together and put forward the resolution for you. Any items that have not been before any of the boards before tonight's meeting have been brought to the face of the memo. Monies are on hand for all expenditures, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Gossett. Madam Clerk, will you read the resolution by title, please?
A resolution of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, amending the operating budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023, and ending September 30th, 2024, and providing for an effective date.
And a motion?
I move that we adopt resolution number 2183-2024, amending the operating budget of the City of Jacksonville Beach for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023, and ending September 30th, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wagner,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Mesa,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Item B? Ms. Mobbs.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we bring to you the amended CRA downtown plan. The CRA voted and approved this at their September meeting. And the goal of this plan was to take several years of multiple iterations of a plan that rather than eliminating material that was no longer relevant or obsolete, we just kind of kept building upon. So a document that realistically could have been about 30 pages ended up being between 70 and 80. And we oftentimes heard from board members and even the public that our plan was really hard to understand. It was really hard to find where projects were. And so our focus here was to keep the relevant material and make it very easy to identify and find, follow the state statute. And then the idea behind this is this plan is a living document that's reviewed annually during our budget process and then amended every 3 to 5 years or more if needed. But best practices per the FRA are to amend your plans every 3 to 5 years. So I am happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you read the resolution by title, please?
A resolution of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, amending the community redevelopment plan for the downtown redevelopment area for the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, as previously amended according to the requirements of the Community Redevelopment Act of 1969 to provide for a comprehensive update to the overall plan for the downtown redevelopment district, providing for adoptions of recitals, restatement of prior decisions, repeal of prior inconsistent resolutions, severability, scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Thank you. And a motion?
I move that we adopt resolution number 2184-2024, adopting an updated downtown redevelopment plan.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Holding.
Thank you. So I do think this looks really great. I mean, I've looked at all the plans, right? And yeah, this definitely makes it a lot more understandable to anyone, right? So thank you for all the work that's been done to make this so much better. I do have a comment, and I will be proposing a change that I'd like to see, and I wanted to just explain to my colleagues on page 23, the section about Downtown Cape. It says that the Downtown Cape is an innovative community policing program within the community redevelopment area aimed at transforming downtown into a vibrant hub for socializing, shopping, dining, and enjoying the beach. The program is unique in its holistic approach, integrating infrastructure improvements, code enforcement, zoning, special events, and design standards to create a positive environment for businesses and visitors alike. My comment is this: we have residents who live in the downtown, and over the years I've been contacted by residents who have concerns about some of the things that are happening in the downtown that Downtown Cape is trying to manage for our residents who live there. And so I would just like to see us add 2 words to these 2 sentences, and it would just be adding the word living, like in the first sentence, socializing, shopping, dining, living, and enjoying the beach. And in the second sentence, I would want to see residents added in the sentence where it says a positive environment for businesses, residents, and visitors alike. I just feel like it's we owe it to the residents who live in the downtown area to see that their concerns are going to be part of the Downtown Cape focus as well. So I would make a motion to amend the Downtown Cape section to add the residential components to those 2 sentences.
Second.
We motion and like 3 seconds. Hopefully the clerk got that. Any discussion on the amendment? Do you have any concerns with adding that verbiage to that section?
I think we're good with that.
Okay. Any other? Sorry.
So we'll run it by the city attorney, but I don't foresee any problem adding those 2 words.
Okay, good. Any comments from the council on just that amendment? So roll call on just adding the 2 words as described by Ms. Golding. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Wagner,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Meza,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Back to the original motion as amended, Mr. Jansen.
Just a quick question for you. I don't want to get too deep in the minutia. So you said a review every 3 to 5 years. Is there a catalyst that would cause you to do that review? Should it be just every 3 years, or should it be a fixed time? Or what would be what would cause you to say, okay, it's time to do a review?
So it'll be every year when we do our budget and our CIP, we're kind of looking at how projects are changing. And I think for us, what we'll see more changes with are going to be those initiatives and how we're going to kind of have to pivot as we develop, whether it's new incentive programs or new safety programs and things within the downtown. I think we could see an instance where maybe we're looking at this every year going, okay, we kind of need to pivot here, we need to make some changes. The 3 to 5 years is just what the Florida Redevelopment Association recommends. And that's kind of a standard across the board best practice, but for us, really, it'll be an annual review. I think if we were to see some relatively large projects completed, and we're kind of getting to the end of a lot of those CIP projects, and maybe that's at year 3 or 4, once we start seeing those coming to completion, I think that would be a time to do another big, really look holistically at the plan as an overhaul, like, okay, these are done, or should we have new leadership or leadership changes or CRA board member changes, and maybe the goals and the vision of what they want to see happening in the downtown. I think those would be the types of catalysts that could kind of spearhead a really big change. I think realistically what we'll see are going to be more minor updates on maybe an annual basis, but
And so I don't have the language immediately accessible. I mean, I have it. I don't want to dig through it.
Okay.
So does it say it shall be or will be? I mean, let's just put it this way. It should say it shall be or will be in that 3 to 5 year period. That makes to assure that it's done.
it could. It's not anything that's required. It's more of a best practice. So the language says it'll be reviewed annually during our budget and updated every 3 to 5 years to ensure the plan remains up to date. Up to date on projects and that do not become obsolete. So the biggest problem that we have with the last plan is that it wasn't really being looked at every 3 to 5 years. So we had tons and tons of pages of projects that were completely obsolete and made no sense. We can change that verbiage, but it's more of a best practice to follow.
So I'd like to make a motion to change that verbiage to say it shall be reviewed between 3 to 5 years.
Second?
You're changing the verbiage where exactly? What page? It's because it's not referenced in the resolution.
Yeah, so the only place that's referenced is in the background of the memo.
So you're making a motion to amend the staff memo?
On the background, where,
It's in the staff memo.
yes.
Can we amend the staff memo?
Since this language isn't in the resolution, I don't think your proposed amendment would legally accomplish.
Okay, so let me make an amendment though, to say that, to add to the resolution that this is reviewed every 3 to 5 years. It shall be reviewed every 3 to 5 years.
Mr. City Attorney?
I think it'd be perhaps better to put that in the actual plan than the resolution. The resolution could arguably achieve that, but I don't think it would be the best way of doing it legally. I think putting it into an appropriate section of the downtown redevelopment plan would be more binding in the future.
Okay, I make a motion that we add that it shall be reviewed every 3 to 5 years in the plan.
Perhaps on page 4 under the section titled the redevelopment plan. Can we add it? Second. Got it.
We have a motion and a second to add the language shall review every 3 to 5 years into the page 4 section redevelopment plan. And was there a second on that one?
Second.
Oh, Ms. Golding seconded. I'm sorry, we
Just put it under the redevelopment plan.
will put it under the redevelopment plan section.
It goes on to page 5.
The lights that are on right now, are they on in discussion of this amendment?
Just a process question, didn't we have a motion on the floor?
We already voted, we had an amendment on the floor, we voted on it, and now we have a second amendment being offered.
Okay, I thought we made a motion on Mr. Jansen's first. And it
He
was
withdrew it.
seconded by Ms. Golding, I believe. that we need to do.
Okay.
Y'all getting froggy for a pre-election night meeting. Don't forget, it's a polling location. Mr. Wagner, is your comment on this amendment? Okay. So the amendment offered by Mr. Jansen is to add the language shall review every 3 to 5 years. And seeing no other discussion on that item, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Golding?
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen?
Yes.
Councilmember Meza?
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton?
Yes.
Councilmember Wagner?
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman?
Yes, motion carries. So we have a twice amended resolution. Mr. Wagner.
I don't think I'm going to lead to an amendment, so. So I just wanted to make sure, as I reviewed this, one of the things I reflected on were the numerous times we've had residents or concerned citizens come and speak to us about some of the development opportunities downtown. And so as I read this, I really looked at things like the incentive programs and those type of things as kind of our intent to spearhead those types of development. I just wanted to make sure that was a correct conclusion and that we are overtly trying to address those concerns that have been brought to council.
Yes, absolutely. So under the programming section, we call out our specific incentives that we already have in place or are finalizing getting in place now. But then also under our strategic priorities, we have a more broad definition of incentivizing economic development in the downtown, and both of those were very intentional.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's great work.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Oh, Mr. Sutton?
Just this little Scrivener thing here under strategic priority 4, sustainability, page 7, I think, at least it's page 7 on my thing. Under the very last item, under estimated cost, 2.8 thousand.
That doesn't sound accurate. I was gonna say,
Are you referring to the CAPE program?
Yes.
Or not? There's an
Oh,
extra
yes.
zero.
Yep, thank you.
Scrivener's error.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. No other lights. I would like to say, I agree, this was much needed. It looks really good. It's very visually appealing, easy to understand, and long awaited, much anticipated. So thank you for your work on that. I don't see any other lights on the board, so we have the original motion with the 2 amendments. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Jansen?
Yes.
Councilmember Meza?
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton?
Yes.
Councilmember Wagner?
Yes.
Councilmember Golding?
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Moss. We will go back to the item that was removed from the consent agenda, Resolution 2185-2024, regarding the mitigation strategy. Whose item is this? Mr. Putnam.
Alan Putnam, Director of Beaches Energy. This item is brought to you in order for us to apply for 2 federal grants through St. Johns County. We must adopt their land mitigation strategy. It's a requirement of the state and the federal government, and that's why I'm bringing this item to you this evening.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you read the resolution by title, please?
And by the way, we actually have 2 in the pipeline. They both made it very far into the process, and one of them is over $2 million, one was like $1 million something. And it's a great amount of work in both our substations in St. Johns County.
A resolution of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, approving and adopting the St. Johns County Local Mitigation Strategy Plan, directing the City of Jacksonville Beach Fire Marshal's Office to notify the Florida Division of Emergency Management of the city's adoption of the Local Mitigation Plan, providing for adoption of recitals, repeal of inconsistent resolutions and council decisions, severability, Scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
And a motion, please?
I move that we approve resolution number 2185-2024, adopting St. Johns County's local mitigation strategy plan.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Golding.
Thank you, Mayor. The LMS, I'm going to say because it's a mouthful, was a lot of information, and so I would just like to better understand how does this impact Jacksonville Beach? What, what if anything do we need to, what are we gonna be responsible for? And also, I saw that there's a lot of, what were they listed as? Contributing organizations or participating agencies. Will we be a participating agency? That kind of thing.
I'm gonna let you answered it pretty eloquently earlier.
Thank you. The purpose for a local mitigation strategy is basically for governmental and non-governmental agencies, but stakeholders within the community to coordinate their resiliency and their mitigation of hazards before they actually cause problems within the community. In this particular instance, because we have infrastructure that's located within St. Johns County, it actually does make sense for us to adopt a local mitigation strategy. In talking about it with Mr. Putnam earlier today, it's an opportunity that when they do updates or they have meetings to have an understanding of what our other partners within St. Johns County will be doing at any given point in time. It could be drainage improvements, it could be road widening, it could be road raising that could have an effect on our substations. So it's good to have that coordination effort in place. In terms of what our responsibility is, it's to participate in the process and put any of our capital projects onto their radar. It's really a sharing of information to make sure they know what we're doing, we know what they're doing, and that if there's opportunities to partner or to seek joint funding to do so in that manner. Given that our city attorney used to work in St. Johns County, I don't know what his experience is, but if he wants to add more with LMS, he's more than welcome to. It would be our intention moving forward that if we have the opportunity to be participative in their regular updates or meetings, to do so with a representative from Beaches Energy, with an understanding that the person who represents us would need to have an innate knowledge of our capital projects, so that as we see what's happening with other agencies or districts within St. John's, they can take that information back and we can adjust accordingly.
Thank you, Mike. I wanted to make sure that we understood this because we're adopting a plan that somebody else did. So I do appreciate that explanation and, thank you.
Mr. Wagner?
So, similar to Vice Mayor Golding's comments, considering that this was an action-packed weekend and an action-packed period of all our lives right now, the 4 days and a 347-page document probably did not support each other very well. So the question I would ask, because I only had a chance to review it at a very high level, is there anything within this plan that would cause us any issues or create any concerns for us, considering that this was not written by us for us? And is there anything that we should be aware of in advance of approving it?
The city attorney has turned on his light.
I may have written part of this. It was not for us, so it's a very valid question. Look, this is limited to our assets in St. Johns County. So it's a very narrow scope, but I didn't read every single word of those pages, but I looked through it. Lauren, our contact that we work with at St. Laura, Nelson, I worked with her on several projects in the past. I have no concern. Very valid questions, thank you for bringing them up, but we have minimal to no risk that you're concerned about.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
All right, seeing no other lights on the board, we did have a motion in a second, right? Okay, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Meza?
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton?
Yes.
Councilmember Wagner?
Yes.
Councilmember Golding?
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen?
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman?
Yes, motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned.